Good morning, folks. This morning I wanted to demonstrate how to use array literals and to create an array as your data set for a query. And this would solve the problem of having uh, errors occur when you build a query and you build it based on the data set, on the cells, on the range. Let's take a look at what this means. So let's build a query here in this in cell A1. So it's equals to a query, and our data set is actually going to be all of this data here. We'll just go ahead and select that data, and then we will just quickly do. We'll select A, B, and F. Those are the three columns I want, where B is greater than, let's just say, 100 million. See what we come up with. Let's close that query. Let's do a comma and say there's one header. Close it out and hit enter. So right now we have that many countries. Let's see. Let's add a little bit of something to this. Let's add another zero, number one, to that, and then let's order by B, and let's make it descending so we can get the. Okay, there we go. So now we have a query that will show us A, B, F, that's these three columns, B, A, B, F. We're grabbing those columns, and when we, and then we're just grabbing the ones where the population is greater than 100 million. And we're ordering that by B descending, so that we have obviously China at the top here. Now let's see what happens if we, for some reason, we're manipulating this data and we added a column to the left. And now we come back and look at my query and it's empty. It's an error now. That column no longer works. In fact, if we had inserted several columns, let's insert several other columns in here again. What you can see is the query doesn't work because now we're selecting A through O. So my range increased when I did that. However, the ABF no longer represent the right columns. So let me undo that add. Let's see what happens if we use an array literal instead. So this time let's write our query like this. So our query, and this time we're going to put it inside of curly brackets because we're going to build an array. And the first data set we want to use is column A. The second data set we want to use is column B. And the third data set we want to use is column F. We close out our array with a curly bracket. Then we are going to, that's going to be our data set. And now we're going to select. And in this case, because we have an array, we can't use the column headers ABC. We have to use this syntax, col1 and col2 and col3, because we only have three columns in our array now. And then we're going to select col 1, 2, 3, where, here we'll do the same syntax, where col2 is greater than, and again, 100 million. I think that should be correct. And then let's order, in this case, by col2, and let's do the descending. Let's see if we got that correct. Close that out. comma 1 for our number of headers, and hit enter. There we go. So we have the same data. This time it's written in this syntax compared to writing in this syntax. So now what happens if I go ahead and insert several rows? Let's go ahead and insert several rows. I'm going to insert 4 columns left. We come back and take a peek. This is empty. This hasn't changed. We still have our population. We have our land area. And that's because, notice, A, F, and J. Our arrays adjusted when we added those columns in there. Go ahead and undo that. And come back over here. Let's undo and then check again. Okay, so this one's working again without that data. And this one, as we showed, had been working regardless. What would happen if we changed the order of a column? If we do that, let's see what happens. So this is working, but if I come here and change the order of a column for some reason, let's say I want to put that there. Now take a look over here. Well, that changed our data here. ABF, A to K where ABF, where B is greater than 1 million, well, or 100 million, well, B is now year change. So that fails for us. But notice, this does not fail. So this adjusted to column C, where column, to sheet C, which is our column 2, and that adjusted itself. So even though we moved this column on our query, it didn't break. So I hope this is helpful. It's very useful to use a array literal, build an array as your data set instead of building your array or building your data set based on the cells, because if this data changes, your query breaks. And in this case, the query here does not break.